I want to first say a big hello to everybody who's joined in for today's session. And a huge shout out to Inderjeet Barodia and his team at ProTouch for making this session possible and also giving me the opportunity to dress up in work clothes today for a change after more than a week of lockdown. So I'm going to start off today's session by talking about the role of the pivot. Now, how the human body works or the anatomy works is that we sort of work in alternates. And I'm just going to step back for a second and go down a little bit on the screen to show you guys. So how the human body works is starting down, moving up, is that the ankle is actually a mobility joint because it moves in multiple directions. And the knee is a stability joint, so it sort of moves only in one direction. Okay, and the hip again is the mobility joint, so it moves in multiple directions again. Now the spine is sort of split into three segments. So there's the lower back, which is actually a stability joint. There is the mid back or the thoracic spine, which is actually is a mobility joint. And the upper back is again a stability joint. Shoulders are again mobility, elbows are stability, and wrist is mobility. So why am I talking about this is that there are different parts of the body that are supposed to give us stability when we swing, and there are certain parts that give us mobility when we swing. So having said that, how the pivot works is a huge role is got to do with the hips and it's got to do with thoracic spine. And a little bit, of course, with the ankle mobility as well. So that means that when I sort of address, and I'm just going to take a club, put it across my shoulders like this and sort of set up, is that when I sort of pivot, which means I'm moving and getting my pressure or the weight to move into the right side, it's actually the hip and the thoracic spine that allow that rotation to happen for me to be successfully able to get the pressure onto the right leg. Now, what the knees do, and I mean, one major thing that I've seen with a lot of golfers is that they start using their knees a lot. When I start using my knees to achieve that, I'm actually losing stability in my golf swing. So if I lose stability, it's going to lead to one, erratic contact, and two, it also actually affects the path to a large extent. So I want to feel more thoracic spine, so I want to feel more spine and allow internal hip rotation sort of happen to sort of get there. And the same thing sort of holds true for downswing. The second part about the pivot, which I'm going to talk to you from down the line, is that why is it a lot more important, in my opinion, than just hand positions or golf club positions? Because a lot of the golf club positions and the hand positions are actually related to the pivot in itself. So just giving you a small example in the beginning of the golf swing. So if I was to set myself up or down the line, now imagine you've all seen golfers, I'm sure some of you also have this issue where the club starts moving out or the club starts going in. Now in both the cases, actually, the root cause is the fact that I actually didn't turn this at all. Now, what I try to do is I'm thinking constantly about club head positions. I'm again thinking about the club head without realizing that if I don't successfully rotate this, I'm actually not going to be able to be on plane. Because what I'm doing is I'm moving the club, without moving my body at all. So they're actually correlated, like they're connected. So I must be able to move both of them in the right manner and of course the right sequence for me to successfully be able to sort of move the club, throughout the golf swing. Now, I would say that I'm going to come back a little bit. All right. So I would say that a lot of swing issues are actually can be solved by understanding how the body moves better, and a lot of it is just about building awareness with the player itself. Sometimes the player is just not aware of how the body needs to move to sort of attain those positions. And in some cases, there could be a mobility or stability issue. Now, how do we work on these aspects is that, we sort of move to strength later on. So it's always mobility, stability, and lastly, strength. Once you've attained mobility, what I mean by that is, to break it down a little further, is that it could be as simple as just stretching a muscle out. So like a lot of times there's limited rotation in the hip because, you've got hip flexor muscles which are really tight. Or you just don't understand how to get in that position, how the rotation happens, and how, the glute sort of gets activated or the adductors get activated. Now, in my opinion, there is, I mean, this is all technical jargon, but in my opinion, that it is extremely helpful for people to understand, let's say, doing a lot of simpler actions. For example, it's instinctive in all of us to sort of throw a ball. You know, if I have a ball, I just pick it up and I sort of throw it. Now, actually, the right chain of muscles are fired to achieve that. And similarly, let's say if I had a punching bag and I was going to punch, I would sort of do the same thing. So my instinctive reaction, if I let's say had a punching bag punch, would be that I would, I would rotate, and I would definitely rotate around my thoracic spine and my hip, and I would sort of unleash that power by doing the same thing. I sort of use the right muscles to rotate and sort of go through. And what I mean by that is, especially for juniors, even for adults, but I would say more so for juniors, I feel that experiential learning, which is the body sort of understands better when it experiences the movement, gives us better results. So let's say, what I do with a lot of my kids, I would just take, let's say, a easy thing like a football or a basketball, get them into like a golf setup position, keep them relaxed. So nothing, you're not talking about arms, just like a relax, just that we're bent over. And from here, I would just ask them to sort of, take it back and throw it. Chances are they'll start understanding what is it right, what we really move to sort of achieve that. Now, there are lots and lots and lots of drills that can be done to sort of, keep achieving these goals. Um, Again, in my learning, lots of off the ball stuff really helps with on the ball. What I mean by that is that just hitting golf balls trying to achieve that, there is not enough learning in that, because, and I say not enough learning for the body, is because uh, the body is not used to that certain muscle pattern firing to hit a golf ball. So as soon as we have that external stimulus of the golf ball that comes in front of us, my brain or my body understands it's been doing something, for a while. So it kind of starts firing the same muscle pattern. That's what happens when the ball stimulus is in front of me. But if I move myself away from the golf ball, and let's say I do drills, simple drills like with a football, or I mean, like I said, there are tons of drills to do. What I do is that I train the right muscles to be able to achieve that. And then when I come onto the ball, the learning gets better. So that's experiential learning for my muscles to, sort of get better with some of the swing changes that I'm trying to make. I'm going to take some questions very soon. So now the other part is that, there are limitations that the human body has. And what I mean by that is that, that there can be players, and I've seen that, and I would say that even with professional golfers, some of them that I coach, there are players who have, let's say, certain mobility issues, which means, let's say, they might not have enough, let's say, range in lots of different areas. Now, that doesn't mean that they can't play golf and they can't play great golf. It can all be achieved. There are ways to sort of work around your limitations. And of course, you also at the same time start working on your limitations, so you ensure that they sort of get lesser and lesser. But let's say there's somebody who's is flat-footed and they've already attained a certain age. I'm also one of them, extremely flat-footed, uh, and let's say for me, when I try to achieve, I have very bad ankle mobility. There are ways for me to sort of work around it to achieve that. And like I had a student who would come who had like a fused elbow, a junior golfer would come, and he was just trying to do something in his swing which wasn't allowing him to hit the ball well. We just made some simple changes in his approach to how to hit the ball, and also sort of understand what shot shape would work for him. And he managed to not only start playing better golf, he started winning tournaments as well. So I would say that's a huge achievement. I'm just going to flip over my notes, and I want to take questions on this very soon. But the second part of what I wanted to talk about was keeping it simple. So even though I've spoken a lot about, I've spoken a lot of jargon right now, but when I talk about keeping it simple, is so important when you're playing, if you're playing a tournament, if you're playing a round of golf, even I would say if you're practicing, because, the human mind can only sort of handle one thought at a time. And I'm going to just share a stat with you, which is that, the PGA Tour, the average time for hitting a golf ball is 1 second. And I would say for club golfers and maybe some junior golfers, it might be a fraction more, so it might be like 1.3 seconds or 4 seconds. It's definitely not longer than that. Now, in that 1 second, 0.75 of that second actually goes into the backswing, and 0.25 of a second goes into the downswing. So, it's almost we ask ourselves, how many thoughts can we possibly have in the matter of a second? So, all the training that we do away from the ball allows us, when we're on the ball, it permits us to sort of execute that shot a lot better. And I want to also share like another thing, which is Rory McIlroy in his interview that soon after he became world number one again, shared that sometimes you don't see results immediately, but if you believe in your process and you stick to your process, it's only a matter of time that you'll achieve the results. And I sort of have that same attitude with all my students, and we have the same thing. We have a process, we stick to it, and we try to sort of see results in time to come. Okay, so I'm sort of open to any questions if you have any lining up.
All right, ma'am. We have one or two questions as of now.
Yeah.
What would a golfer hit a longer ball if they rotated more in the backswing? I mean, would a golfer hit a longer ball if they rotated more in the backswing?
I would say that if you do not rotate at all, if you, let's say, you're kind of all arms in the golf swing, so if you literally are, let's say, all arms and there's really not any rotation happening, yeah, if you rotate better, you will achieve more distance also out of it. But having said that, if in your let's say attempt, so let's say there's restriction in my movement. Okay, let's say I want to just zoom out a little bit again. So let's assume that I have limited internal hip rotation and thoracic spine rotation. Now, to sort of achieve that rotation, if I sort of start getting out of position, that may not, or chances are it will not lead to sort of better ball striking. You might gain a little distance in think one or two shots, but overall that's not a good method to sort of try to put into play. So I'm just going to add one more thing. So if you look at shoulder rotation, but shoulders in themselves sort of can't move until the thoracic spine allows that rotation to go in. So there is thoracic spine rotation, and now if I just allow the hip to also internally rotate, I get achieve a lot more rotation out of this. But it is also important for me to do it with the right set, I mean the right joints and the right muscles. If I'm not using the right muscles on the right joint to achieve it, which means let's say my thoracic spine is really tight and I am not, I'm not using thoracic spine to rotate. And let's say I'm trying to use my lower back somewhere to rotate, which is supposed to give me stability, chances are in time to come I can land up with lower back pain and potential injury. So it is also important for us to use the right joints, the right muscles to achieve that.
All right, ma'am. Is the rotation same with short irons, mid irons, long irons, and the driver?
Yeah, pretty much. I would say it is sort of the same. It's sort of the only difference is that the length of the club sort of changes, so it's shorter to the longer club. Um, the club in itself actually travels a longer path. It's usually very difficult for the body to achieve a lot more than what it can achieve in terms of rotation. Um, but if you're trying to control, let's say you're trying to control yardages, let's say I'm not trying to hit, let's say if I have a 9 iron in my hand and I'm not trying to hit a full 9 iron, I would sort of control the distance. Let's say I'm trying to hit 3/4 9 iron, I would control it by rotating less in my backswing and hence in the follow through as well.
Right. What is a good drill to keep feet grounded and not move the knees too much?
So the knees actually do move, but the one important thing is they don't actually move inwards and outwards. They don't move sideways. So if I show it to you from down the line, when I rotate, you'll see that this knee looks like it's kind of come forward. This knee looks like it's gone back, maybe a fraction. So the knees actually move. So what they do is they move in this fashion. They're not actually supposed to rotate, because the more rotation I have in the knees, I'm definitely going to end up with some knee injuries in time to come. So from the front also, this is what it looks like. It sort of looks like it's gone forward and back, but not sideways. One of my favorite drills to do for understanding stability better is that you can start off small. You just start off with putting 1 foot. Can you guys see me? Can you see my feet?
Yeah.
Okay, so you basically put, let's say, 1 foot back, get your heel off the ground. get yourself into, get this, put a glove around you and try to feel like, you're sort of turning in onto that leg. And this will ensure that the knee doesn't sort of move side or move in a circular fashion, and it'll just put it, forward and backwards. And you can do the same for the other. You can put the right foot back. Do the same thing for the downswing. Again, this will, your bodies are understanding how the legs actually give you stability, or the knees give you stability, and there's a different part in the body that sort of moves to give you rotation. Next
Could
question.
you please simplify the concept of hip fire?
Concept of hip fire. Okay.
Yeah.
I actually really like that question. So, if let's say we take a simple act of throwing a ball, all right? So, if I just take a simple act of throwing a ball, what happens is that I will sort of load and I turn around and I throw. And I do this as, again, like it's experiential learning with all my students. Is that I ask them to throw a ball and I ask them, where did they really get that feeling from? And I would say till date, 100% of my students have turned out and said they felt it from the upper body. So I was just slow down the whole thing and show it to you in slow motion. This is what happens, okay? I'm gonna load and I start feeling, and I feel it somewhere from my upper body. I sort of start turning
Ma'am,
and
I'm
throwing action.
interrupting you for a while. Can you adjust your camera a bit upward so that they can see the throw?
Okay, better?
Yeah.
Alright, you can see my hips as well?
Yeah.
Okay, so if I was to just, feel the throwing action and I do it slowly, I sort of, I turn, I load, I get my pressure actually moves into the right leg. And you see I've rotated. And now when I get the feeling from the upper body and I'm going to start throwing. But if you see, the first thing that happens is my hip got out of the way. And the more I do this and take a slow motion video of throwing a ball, actually the hip gets out of the way the first thing. Did I feel like the hip got out of the way? So in a nutshell, the hip fired first. It actually stopped. So I'm sure some of you are aware of the concept of the kinematic sequence. So theoretically speaking, the hip does fire first, then the sort of the body fires, and so on and so forth. But do you need to feel the hip fires first? And for me, and that's how I teach, is that I feel that you just sort of work on doing things and doing motions, and you need to find the feeling for yourself. And I'm just going to share that one. I coach one of the senior teaching professionals in India, and with him also it was exactly the same thing. He, in fact, he doesn't appreciate any lower body feeling. Even though as a coach I'm looking at that all the time. I'm looking whether his hip fires first. I'm looking at if he's stable. But at the same time, he doesn't like that as a feeling. So we've actually worked on some drills off the ball that have helped him achieve that, and he's actually hitting the ball a whole lot better. So I hope that answers your question. Sia, do we have any more questions?
Okay, ma'am, the next question.
Yeah.
Is it okay to jump a little while hitting the ball to generate more power?
So I like this saying that you only need to fix something if it's broken, which means that, let's say if you're like a player like Laura Davies, and you constantly are jumping off the ground to sort of hit the ball, but you can play as good as she does, you don't really need to change it. But if you are not being able to achieve your objective, unless you're not getting good contact, you're not getting repeatable ball flight, you're not being able to shape the ball the way you want to, perhaps that's something you need to definitely look at. But again, I really, really believe in that you need to fix something if it's broken. If it's not broken, you don't need to fix it.
Okay, the next question. I am one of those who started rotating primarily with my knees, as you mentioned. What does the left knee do exactly as a consequence of the natural pivot, as you explain it, please?
Sorry, can you repeat that question?
I am one of those who started rotating primarily with my knees, as you mentioned. What does the left knee do exactly as a consequence of the natural pivot? If you please explain it.
So if your knee sort of rotating too much, like I said, chances are that in time you might end up with an injury. What the left knee does is both the knees do the same thing. The idea of the knees is to give you stability. They're not supposed to be rotating. As a joint, the knee doesn't do that. So the more you keep allowing it to rotate, it's going to end up with your ligaments and all starting getting stretched. You may have knee pain in time to come. Hopefully, you don't already. And the job of the knee is to give you stability. So you need to find what you're not doing, what are you not allowing to rotate for the fact that your knee is starting to rotate. Chances are that it's probably your hip mobility and or just maybe awareness. Maybe you've just never been aware of the fact that that hip has to do that. So I would say maybe reach out to your golf coach, or I mean you can. I'm happy to sort of, if you want to send out your video to me, I'm happy to sort of have a look at that and you can take it forward from there.
Okay, the next one. Ma'am, could you please show us a few drills to keep my feet grounded while hitting the ball?
Keep your feet grounded. So like I said, the drill that I showed where you put 1 foot back and allow yourself to sort of turn, that's one of them. Two is you can do this with a weighted ball. You can take, so I'm going to show it to you the football. Let's say you take a weighted ball and you get yourself into like a golf sort of setup, and you just take this weighted ball and try to keep your elbows not tucked in, just like relax normally. Get yourself to turn and sort of throw the ball as fast as you can towards someone in front of you, or you can just throw it into a wall. You realize that if you sort of jump a little bit, you may not achieve the same accuracy. And when I say that, means maybe once in a while you get some more thrust from it, but you won't be able to repeatedly do that. So you start feeling, okay, the more I allow my feet to feel a little more, in touch with the ground, you'll achieve like a better, more regular, repeatable speed out of it.
Okay. Next question. When I rotate my body, I get the distance, but I start pulling. If I do not rotate my body, the ball goes straight. Why?
Chances are maybe your hands are excessively active or they come into play earlier. So if while you're rotating in the downswing, let's say that you achieve like good backswing rotation, you're in a nice position. And I say when you're starting a downswing pivot, instead of letting your hands come later, and I'll just show that as an analogy in throwing a ball as well. If you sort of allow your arms to sort of come earlier and then you're rotating, chances are you probably pull that shot. Again, it's not a one size fits all, but I'm saying my guess is that's probably what you do. So what I meant by giving you an analogy is that if you think about it, when you throw a ball as well, we sort of we turn everything, and the last thing happens is that my arms come. And the same thing is happening for golf. If I start letting my arms come earlier before the pivot sort of starts, it's going to lead to like erratic paths in the club.
Okay, next question. What are the best drills for backswing rotation?
What are the
best drills for backswing rotation drills?
Okay, so I mean, I'm happy to share more and more drills with you guys, but so some of my favorite drills, and this is for backswing and downswing both. Let's say you get your feet together, have your club on, and you just sort of get into a bent-in golf swing position with your feet touching each other, and you sort of move. You go step and rotate. That's like a backswing. Okay, and you can do the same thing. You can get into a backswing and go step and rotate for like a downswing. Both. This is like a backswing and downswing. And the pivot is not just for the backswing, it's for both. You must understand the role of the body in the golf swing, that it holds true for both. It's backswing and downswing.
Okay, I'll go to the next question. How can I avoid my hips from swaying and get them to rotate? Sometimes when I sway, my hips fire first and my hands are left behind. How can I correct this?
Okay, that's an awesome question. All right, so chances are that you have heard the fact that the hips sort of fire first. So for you, once you're here, the first thing you do is kind of get your hips ready, get your hips out of the way, and your hands stay behind, your upper body stays behind. So, a great drill to do is just put your right foot back. I'm telling you guys, these drills they fix more than what we imagine. So just put right foot back, allow yourself to feel that way. And you can actually hit golf balls doing that. So, you want to hit golf balls by setting yourself up, take your right foot back, get your heel off the ground a little bit, and just hit. You're not trying to hit full shots, you're trying to, let's say, hit maybe 50% or 75% of what you normally hit it, and just get yourself into the setup and just swing along this part. Your hips will stop swaying, because as soon as you put this foot back, there's no way you can move forward. Your body will start understanding how to sort of rotate. And another way for you to practice would be that let's say you pull out, let's say 8 golf balls aside. You hit 8 golf balls by putting your foot back, and you hit, let's say you try to hit 4 golf balls by putting your feet back. Again, you hit 8 golf balls, putting your right foot back. This switching is another way for experiential learning. All of a sudden, by the time you probably hit a 50, 60, 100 balls, something like that, there's like your body all of a sudden starts understanding what it needs to do. So most often than not, theoretically, we understand, like our brain understands what it needs to do, but the body hasn't completely understood what it needs to do. So a lot of these drills, they help, that the theory to practical application through drills. And again, I'm a huge advocate for that. All my students do drills, and it's not as boring as it sounds.
All right, ma'am. The next question. Ma'am, could you please give us some drills to make us feel the drag while hitting the ball?
Sorry, make us feel?
Could you please give us some drills to make us feel the drag while hitting the ball?
Well, that's actually something that I don't teach. So I think that's more like it's a stacking tilt approach. I think it's something that maybe Tarun or Stephen Giuliano, one of those, can sort of address. I don't really sort of teach that drag and hold position. That's not something I teach.
All right. The next question, ma'am. How to stop a draw?
How to stop a draw?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, does this person have an issue of overhooking it, or we just let him sort of let this person get back to whatever. I mean, if the person can elaborate the question a little better, because a draw usually can happen because of n number of reasons. So the real question could be, where does your golf ball start? Where does it end up? And I mean, like, I just need some more information on that. So whoever this person is, they can sort of get back with a little more information on that.
All right, ma'am.
Do you have any other questions?
What is a pivot?
What is a pivot? A pivot is basically, there is something that gives you stability. There's something that you rotate with. Now, you sort of pivot in all sports, by and large, I would say. So I have been a thrower. I've been a short put discus thrower at the national level. And it's the same thing. There's a concept where you have something connected to the ground. So there's something that sort of holds stable. And then there's something that sort of, rotates and gives you release. So like for discus throw, we used to do the same thing, or short put the same thing. You get into a loaded position, and then you sort of turn everything, try to rotate everything against that. So something like holds, I'm forgetting the right word for it, but basically something that holds down, and you turn around it. So that's what a pivot is. So for discus, it's sort of like lower body, we feel that, and sort of, turn and release and give that. And for golf, it's the same thing. It's like, again, the lower body sort of gives us stability, and we sort of turn the upper body into it.
The next question, ma'am.
Yeah.
How to increase the distance by rolling the ball and hitting higher?
By rolling, you want more topspin on it? Okay, so I would guess that's what the question is. So and usually that's what we sort of want out of a driver, is that if you have tendency to have the ball position a little back, you'd want to probably place the ball a little forward so that you sort of catch the ball slightly on the upswing versus the downswing. It'll also make you hit the ball a little higher as well as give you a little more topspin, or rather less
Alright,
backspin.
ma'am. All right. What should old players do to hit it further?
Okay, so that's an awesome question. So I sort of feel it's the same thing. For older players, also, most often than not, we stop using the body a little bit. Of course, there will be a limitation. The older that we get, we can't turn as much. It's not as much as possible as it was when you're younger. So even if you get a little bit out of it, then it would be beneficial. If you really can't rotate much at all, then chances are you'll end up using your arms quite a bit, and that's fine. I would say maybe look at getting better equipment for yourself, because if you're using, let's say, blades or something, like something which is got a narrow sole, you're not going to get enough distance out of it either. So it'll be a combination of a few things. But yeah, I mean, I had a gentleman who came to me who was touching 70, and he had the same thing. He said, I'm not hitting it as long anymore. But of course, age is a parameter. But we just made him understand a little bit about the pivot. So it's not like he managed to achieve a lot, but it was just like he just kind of, let's say, sort of managed to just rotate this much. So that gave him a whole lot of distance. He started hitting it about 20 yards further, and it can give that much of a difference. And of course, he changed his club as well. So a combination of that gave 20 yards more. He was hitting it further than anyone in his 4-ball, and he was pretty psyched about that.
All right, ma'am. Ma'am, can you put your laptop camera a bit up so that we can see your face? Perfect, ma'am.
Right.
Someone has a question. My right foot starts to turn very on my downswing. Is that a bad thing?
If you're the right foot, depends on how it's kind of turning. So if it's turning, which is in, if you guys can you guys see my hips from here? Right. So if let's say your right foot is sort of turning as in it's lifting up and your hip is coming forward, then yes, it's not benefiting you in any way, because what that's doing is, one is it's actually reducing the power that you could put into the ball and the speed that you could potentially generate. Also, when you start coming closer to the ball, it's called early extension. When you start getting closer to the ball, you don't have enough space. You're going to make a few compensations, which is not it's not really going to benefit you. If it's giving you, let's say, inaccurate contact or short shaping as well. So I don't advocate that.
How could I keep my sternum at the center throughout while hitting the ball? Because I feel that I can kind of fall back while and after hitting.
Okay, so I would want to say something. When we talk about our center remaining on the ball, it's more from the perspective of the spine. And there's a difference between my sternum and the spine, and it would range anything between, I would say, like 5-6 inches to could be maybe something more. But when we look at it on video, we sort of start thinking that this is my center, and we start trying to keep this center like on the ball. Now the center is actually the spine, and the spine is at the back. That's something you can't really see. So when I sort of pivot, my shirt buttons, which sort of represent, let's say, my sternum, they actually look like, or they appear that they move. So this is not actually my center moving. My center hasn't moved. I've just sort of pivoted. The pressure is shifted into my right leg, and the chances are my shirt buttons will look like they reach my right leg. In the same way, in the downswing, it'll sort of appear like it sort of reached the left leg, but my spine really hasn't moved much. And I think that's more key than anything else.
What is the issue if the arms lead the backswing, especially if one can hit a fairly long and straight ball?
Well, like I said, if it's not broken, you don't need to fix it. If if you're very happy with the way you're hitting the ball, you manage to hit straight and long, um, you don't need to fix it. But if there was, let's say, a fresh student that would come, I would say that would be something that I would definitely sort of inculcate from the word go. But again, um, let's say your goal is to sort of shave off your handicap a little more. And that means even if in a round you land up hitting 2 or 3 shots which go a little wayward because of that, there's something for you to think about. You might want to give it a shot. Maybe.
All right, ma'am. If I give more power to backswing and rotate more, will the ball go further?
So like I said, the stat that I said was professional takes about 7.75 of a second to move back, and then 0.25 of a second to move forward. That means that you actually create more speed in the downswing. The idea is not to create speed in the backswing. Rotation does help, and again, I would say majority of players that I have seen have lack of rotation, and they don't either, like I said, lack of awareness, or they have limited rotation. But having said that, I also have a student who has an exception who's actually hypermobile, and he's it's a guy, it's not a girl. He's extremely strong. He's very well built, but he's hypermobile. In his case, we actually have to sort of control his rotation a little bit so that he achieves, hitting the ball straight up, because he can reach the other side. He's that flexible. So there has to be, like, there's a fine line. As long as, like I said, we have to always keep seeing what is the ball doing. Is it doing what you want it to do? Is it going straight? Is it going long? Are you achieving what your ball flight goes up? As long as you're achieving that, you put it on repeat, it's fine.
All right, ma'am. Can you show some good drills to achieve better consistency for downswings and follow throughs?
So it would sort of depend what your issue is, but some of the drills that I showed a little while earlier, like right foot back, you can hit balls doing that. You can just take a ball and start throwing that. It will help you with your downswing overall. I'm happy to sort of help you out if you want to share your video with me. I can see and give you maybe some more specific drills to your swing and what you want to achieve from that.
Ma'am, requesting you if you can please adjust the camera again.
Sure. That's better.
Yeah. Ma'am, how can we generate a backspin and topspin?
The easiest way to do it is actually move around your ball position a little bit. So if you just pull your ball position back a little bit, you get a little more, ball starts a little lower, you have a little more spin. If you push the ball a little forward, you start having this thing. So I would say that's the easiest way. If you have the same club in your hand, that would be the easiest way to achieve that.
All right, ma'am. What are some good exercises to strengthen the back and arm muscles? Will yoga help?
So yoga is very good. I don't do much of it, to be honest. But yeah, yoga is pretty effective. Um, you can always go meet, like, a fitness instructor that's close to you. My sincere suggestion is meet someone who's got, let's say, who's a sports fitness instructor more than anything else, and ideally if they understand golf better, that's great. Tons of exercise. Even the stuff that we've done, even the drills that we were talking about, you can eventually, once you have, like I said, so it's always mobility, stability, and then strength. So if you achieve, you've got good mobility, you've already worked in stability, and now you're in that zone where you're looking at gaining strength. You can just start doing the same drills with some weighted stuff. So instead of just like doing with a club or just doing with a golf, with a football, you can start taking like a medicine ball to do that. So even with my students, once we achieve a certain weight, we realize that yes, we're out of injury way, because if you have mobility issues and you start building strength in that same zone, you can land up with an injury. So once we know that they're fine and they have that range where they're not going to get injured, we start doing weighted medicine ball drills, and we add weights to their fitness regime. But yeah, the juniors, less so, we don't want to do weights for sure. We start doing maybe some simple band exercises and all. So it really depends on what age group you're in.
All right, ma'am. I have a little bit of backache after hitting around 150 balls. Can that be stopped?
Um, I mean, should be able to be stopped. I would again say maybe go meet your golf coach and ask them if they can have a look at your thoracic spine rotation and your hip mobility. Because if you have lower back pain, chances are fairly high that you're not rotating properly. And it's I'm gonna reiterate the fact that it's okay if you don't have that much range. I mean, it's okay if we can't rotate as much as Rory McIlroy can, but we still must try to use the right joints and the right muscles to achieve that. So even if like I can't definitely rotate like a Rory McIlroy can, so I will rotate as much as I can so I can maximize my potential. And at the same time, I can continue working on my fitness and I can keep working on getting better range and maybe in time get stronger, try to get faster, but I must do it in such a fashion where I don't get injured. So if your lower back's hurting, I mean something definitely that you need to address. And I would say I've had a player who not one but several players who come to me with lower back pain, and once you just start working on the right movement, the pain just vanished. They're pain free now. They don't have it. Of course, you can maybe just some stretching and all will also help as well if you have a limited range.
How can I increase my iron distance and driver distance?
Uh, More club head speed. There's some speed drills that you can do that will help you achieve that. Um, I would suggest you can go on. There's a Instagram handle called Mac Training. You can go and have a look at that. There's some basic stuff that you can just pick up. You can let's say you can just take a club, hold it upside down and get yourself cracking where you just start take back and try to create as much noise you can. I would do it here, but I have a feeling I'm gonna knock something down. But yeah, I mean just hold the club upside down and start going forward, backwards, try to create as much speed as you can. It does take time, but eventually you'll be able to sort of create a little more speed. And it depends on what age group you are. If you're a junior, there's a lot of scope to get your swing speed up. If you're an adult, you still can get some more swing speed out of it. There's just like I said, some drills one of them.
Does not rotating will affect the ball contact?
It can give you erratic. It can either give you erratic contact or it can give you erratic ball flight. So and usually it does both. Um, it can lead you sometimes all of a sudden you're hitting fades and then you're starting draws and sometimes you can just start all of a sudden hitting it behind. Um, Rotating well gives you a more effective and efficient golf swing. Again, it's not like one size fits all. So you can get away with it, but chances are if you want to hit it a little longer, you want it a little straighter, you do want to use your body properly to achieve that.
The next question, ma'am. My spine is actually falling back in the downswing. So, how can I solve this issue?
If your spine is falling back, probably early extending. Again, probably. Um, Same. I mean, you can do this drill. It's one of my favorite. I do it when I'm practicing. Is just they go put one foot back. So in this case, if you're falling back, and you said downswing, backswing.
Downswing.
Right? Okay. So you can just put your right foot back and get your heel off the ground a little bit, and just start rotating. There's no way you can fall back if your right foot is back. I mean, it won't allow your lower body sort of gets a little locked in the back. It will force you to understand how the upper body pivots in the downswing because you're trying to clearly use everything with the lower body and you're not rotating anything with the upper body.
All right, ma'am. Please, could you tell us when we are at top of the backswing, should we start downswing movement from the hips or the upper body?
So, okay, so I because, like I said, there's a difference between feel and reality, right? So, reality, or theoretically speaking, as we call it, is that, well, the hips start first. But the feel may not be to actually start the hips first. So, and when I say that, I'm going to say that, don't try to lock anything. So there's a difference in me trying to feel, let's say, I'm just going to take the screen down a little bit. Okay. So there's a difference in, let's say, me trying to feel that I'm trying to, let's say, lock my lower body and trying to do this. This is not what we want to do either. And there's a difference in me trying to get here and trying to do everything with the lower body. So I'm trying to say, let's say, if you have a tendency of the lower body doing too much, you can just get into a setup and just have yourself feel like, let's say, doing more with your upper body to achieve that. Another great trick to do that is you take a ball, get into load, and when you're throwing it, you don't want to throw it further. You're not trying to throw it at chest height. Literally throw it down into the ground. You realize that it'll help you understand how. So it's literally do that, and you want to throw this ball into the ground here. It'll definitely help you fix that.
All right, ma'am. Please, could you?
Hmm.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I'm just putting the screen back up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why is it essential to not move the head while taking your backswing?
Again, that's not what I actually said. So please understand, I didn't say that you're not supposed to move your hip. I said again, the hip actually does fire first in the downswing. Even the backswing, I never said the hip doesn't. There is internal rotation. So I'm going to move the screen and show you. If you see this is my hip. There is internal rotation that happens. So it happens in the backswing and happens in the downswing. It happens both ways. It's just that you don't want to feel like everything, it's most of the downswing, you want to feel like, the hip sort of gets too much out of the way that the upper body stays behind.
All right, ma'am. What is your take on club-focused instruction, which is propagated by players like Manuel de Lala Torres, in contrast to body-focused instruction?
So, you know what? I mean, different coaches have different approaches, and I'm not going to say anything wrong. However, club-based instruction, I feel, can sometimes, you can get lost because, like, I give you a simple example of, let's say, you start your backs and you're thinking of, a particular club head position. And, it's very easy for us to start going arms. I can even achieve this with arms. But in my opinion, it's not, one is it's not repeatable, two is it's not effective. And, I have a feeling you don't achieve as much out of the golf ball. Like, I don't achieve maximum distance and compression out of the golf ball as I potentially could if I also use my body. It's like thinking of, throwing something with just your arm versus, also getting your body on. Yes, club head positions are very important, and I use them myself. I see them all the time, but I feel there's a place for them. So it's very difficult to imagine if in your head you're thinking, position. You can get lost. The golfing, like I said, is 1 second. How much can the body think about? How much can you think about, throughout your swing? So even with my students, including my professional golfers and coaches, what we do is that we put something into play, we record it, we come away from the golf ball, we open it up on the app, we put our lines, we check everything, and we also see if you're achieving better club head positions. And in my learning, it's been that, so far we haven't gone wrong with that. Like in my so many years of coaching, I would say that not gone wrong with attaining or achieving club head positions by a combination of what the club does, but a whole lot to do with what the body does. And every human body is different. Like, everyone's anatomy is different. My strengths and my weaknesses will vary from your strengths and your weaknesses. And hence, that's why most golf swings look different. But like the laws of physics don't really change. The anatomy does. And the objective is to always, show you achieve the most out of your golf swing and your body. So if you have a limitation, like I said, can be either worked around it for the time being, and we can, sort of work on it at the same time.
Uh, all right, ma'am. The next question. I have a tendency for my weight to remain on the right leg and not transfer to the left leg. This results in a back foot cover drive kind of a shot, like in cricket, and slice or fade. So, what should I do to fix this?
Um, Again, like I said, that trust me, guys, just try this drill. It should do wonders for at least majority of you, or if not 100%. Just try to put your right foot back at the heel of the ground. It'll ensure that your body understands how the pressure moves into the left leg in the downswing. Just take half of backswing and you sort of hit shots doing that. Your body will slowly start understanding how it does need to get into the left side, and the pressure does shift to the left side and start shifting with rotation. So then you can, like I said, do 8 balls with the right foot back. Maybe try to hit 4 balls with keeping your feet normal, and again hit 8 balls with your right foot back. It should help you to a large extent. Again, I'm happy to sort of have a look at your swing. Please share your video. You can share your video with me, and we can sort of take it on from there.
All right, ma'am. We have one last question. What are the problems with the head bouncing back at impact? So, how to correct these, and also what causes the head bounce back?
The head to bounce back.
Yes, at impact.
Uh, with junior golfers, actually, I would say they kind of use a lot of the head sort of moving back to achieve it. They try to create power from somewhere. Adults usually don't have that as a problem. Um, if your head sort of falls back, you can you can kind of do the same. Let me think about what you can do with your head bouncing back. Uh, you can actually just have someone sort of holding your head for a bit, be a caddy or someone. You can ask them to hold your head and you can sort of hit some shots. You can understand you don't have to get your head moving backwards to sort of hit a shot. Yeah, I would say that, or I mean, you can always put a noodle. So noodle is, you have those foam tubes. You can just put a shaft, put a foam noodle and have it sort of here touching your head, and you can just sort of hit shot because every time you'll hit it, otherwise you'll realize your head, so you can stop moving back. And that's a good training aid. I would use that if I had you hit back.
What are the proper muscles to use in a stinger?
It's pretty much the same sort of muscles that are sort of used in the downswing. It's just that your setup changes to try to hit the ball low. You'll have the ball position a little back. You might have your body weight a little more leaning forward to achieve that. But it's not like there's a different set of muscles that you use to swing the club. It's pretty much the same. It's the same downswing muscle that you will use to sort of fire.
Ma'am, should we wear a cervical collar?
I think that is for the head going back question.
No, I would give you, like I said, I would sort of give you a foam noodle and just put it down into the ground, have that foam noodle sort of coming up all the way to here, and ensure that you start understanding how your head doesn't have to move back to achieve that. I wouldn't put you in a collar to play on the course for that for sure.
All right, ma'am. We have one last question. What is a stinger?
What is a stinger? A stinger is a ball that sort of goes probably a little more in length, and we usually use that where there's a lot of headwind. The idea is to get the ball flight down to a large extent. You don't want to hit it to your normal trajectory. You definitely want to get the ball flight down. You're trying to ensure that it penetrates the wind more, and you sort of get the ball. The ball will start rolling earlier. It's basically it's used as a wind cheater more than anything else.
Ma'am, interrupting you again. Can you show your face? I mean, the yeah. How to rotate in chip shots 20 years?
20 yards. Um, well, the I mean, how much to rotate would sort of vary from person to person because depending on how far you hit it. But pretty much it's the same pivot. The only difference is, so this is what I advocate how to set up for a chip shot, is that you'll have the ball position, let's say center-ish. You can put it back like a fraction if required. And I sort of advocate that you may have about 60% pressure on your left leg. You got to maintain that throughout, but it's the same pivot. It's just that there's a little less rotation that you get from both the thoracic spine and the hip. So you're gonna just get pressure a little more, and you sort of rotate back and forth. But it vary. 20 yards for you might just be this much, and maybe for me it might be just a little more. But I mean, by and large, yeah, I mean it's the same thing.
What is a flop?
A flop. A flop is a shot you're trying to hit really high, and you want it to sort of have like a really soft landing. That's what a flop shot is. You basically want the apex to be like high and sort of take this drop as soon as possible. That's what a flop shot is.
All right, ma'am. In putting, how much should we move?
Um, well, the lower body doesn't really move at all, so it's a very small action. In putting, you want the lower body to literally be absolutely passive, which means no rotation even from the hips. It's pretty much once you get into setup, you want it's just like a little bit of the thoracic spine that sort of moves back and forth, and it appears of course that the shoulders are moving as a result, but it's just like a little bit of rotation from the thoracic spine.
All right, ma'am. We don't have any more questions as of now. So, if you want to discuss any more topics, you can go ahead.
Okay. No, I mean, I'm just going to share like a couple of incidents with you guys, till we wrap up the session. Is that I have worked with professional golfers who have had, like, let's say, limitations in their body, and it does not mean that they can't play golf. They've still played golf at the highest level in India. I had a student who came who's been working with me now for the last few months, and his objective last year was to finish top 16. So we started working together just like a few months before the December came and the year end was going to happen. And during that time, there was we were aware of the fact, and maybe me a little more so because I didn't discuss it as much with him as to pull him down. So the idea was to sort of keep his spirits up, and he worked on certain swing aspects, certain movement aspects, which worked around his limited hip rotation, and he still played pretty well. He in time now has kept working on his reputation, and he's achieved a lot over the last few months. And today we're in a better place. He's hitting it longer. Let's say he's also hitting it maybe a little higher than what he was before, and that's what he desired anyway. But he still played pretty well. He still finished top 60 last year. So I was reading his book. I was reading Rafael Nadal's book, and that's what he said. Humility is, let's say, knowing your limitations, and it's very imperative to sort of work hard and work smart. Also, it's okay to not have something perfect. What is not okay is to give up, and champions are made not by being at the top of your of course, ideally it'd be great if you're at the top of everything, but just because you're not number one in every aspect doesn't mean you're not, you can't be a champion. You can't, let's say, be number one. Like Nadal's service was something, he was well aware of the fact that he was, one of the he was weaker than, let's say, Federer or Djokovic in service, but there was something else that he had. He had a lot of heart. He definitely worked very hard, and he went on to he's been world number one as well. So my advice to especially junior golfers who are aspiring eventually to play golf at a high level or the highest level is that stick to the process, work hard, um, work smart, work on your game. Please work on your fitness. Definitely work on your short game, and don't ever let anyone tell you what you can and cannot do. But know that it's important to put in the effort to achieve anything, and no one's ever made it anywhere in this world, or some anywhere in the top at the pinnacle if without putting in the effort. So and, if it feels like effort to you, and I think Indrajit said that a few sessions back, was if it feels like that you're sacrificing too much, then well maybe you need to reassess your goals. And even for club golfers, it's please be aware of what your goals are, because to achieve those goals, and there's a certain input that has to happen. So I mean, um, I would always say, like, the sky is the limit. It really depends on how big you dream. Do we have any questions that have popped up?
Only one, ma'am. We'll end the session with the last question. Does the head bounce back due to improper upper body rotation?
Yeah, it's definitely possible. And again, I would say that, maybe you can have your golf coach have a look at that. It is definitely possible. You're trying to create something. I would want to know what age group this person is, but if this person is like a junior, it's probably happening.
No, he's a super senior. He should be about 60.
Or 60. Okay. So in this case, yeah, it's definitely possible. Maybe you just got a lack of mobility, which is causing your head to sort of fall back. You can have a look at maybe about 16, maybe a thoracic spine is something, if you spent many hours sort of, bent over, you got a bit of a hunch. And if you have a hunch, then this part of your spine is sort of, in a circular fashion. It would make it difficult to sort of, rotate. If you're trying to at some false level, trying to create it with your head, possible for sure.
Right, ma'am. We don't have any more questions. Uh, we would end the session here then.
Awesome. I just want to
Uh,
thank you for part of the session, and really enjoyed doing this. And thank you all. And look forward to maybe another session in sometime in the near future.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for your time. Also, thank you everyone for watching the session presented by CFL. Please subscribe to the CFL channel on YouTube and get the latest updates. We also take this opportunity to appeal to you if you want to contribute towards feeding underprivileged children. Please contact us on 8420240000. You can contact us in this number. And thank you so much for attending the session. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Happy golfing, everybody.
Thank you, ma'am. We'll be closing the session here. Thanks once again.
Thanks. Thank you, guys.